Hold on. Oh, there we go. I wasn't having navigation for a minute. I wanted to also just do a little overview. And we're going to have a little poll and presentation, and then we'll do breakout rooms. Now, there aren't that many of us, but it still might be nice to break into, like, say, groups of 2 or 2 and 3 or something like that. And then we'll do a group share, and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A too. So because my charge was to come up with 3 kind of actionable ideas or takeaways, but actually I narrowed it down to 4. And of course, this topic could fill out quite a bit of time. So really, it's good because we'll have some spacious time to to share and to ask questions. Do you have the poll ready, Crystal?
No, I thought we were going to do it mid, but I can create it now.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to do it early on because I want to find out how people are doing before we go forward. But we maybe don't have to do a poll, actually. So let's not do a poll because there are so few people. So we can just talk about it, actually. So kind of the question of why is brand strategy important now? Of course, it's always important, but one reason is COVID. And so this was kind of the poll, the content of the poll. And I wanted to know kind of how people are doing right now. I'll stop sharing and I'll look, but the question is, is your business growing right now? Is it stable right now? Is it slipping, or are you bleeding? And to tell you the truth, when I made this slide, that was in March or April, and we were bleeding. So there's nothing wrong with bleeding when a little pandemic comes up to capture our attention. So I'd be interested to go around. I can call on people because I can see everybody and just kind of find out, well, where are you? Are you in growth mode right now? Are you stable? Are you slipping, or are you bleeding? So how about you, Mary? Where are you at?
I would say I'm slipping. I'm not bleeding, but I'm definitely not stable. Part of my job and what I do is connect with businesses, and I usually do that through events and trade shows, and you can't do that right now. So I've had a hard time connecting with construction businesses to let them know about the training we do.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I will have time, I think, in Q&A to maybe you'll get some inspiration here, and you may have some specific questions for me, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. How about you, Jeff? Where are you at? Growing, stable, slipping, bleeding?
Since August, I've been growing, but the first few months of COVID was bleeding for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so. Nothing like a little bloodlet among friends. So, Naz, how are you doing?
Doing good. It was a little tough because I run a medical practice, and COVID was pretty hard on independent medical practices. It really was a rate limiting step to obtain PPE and things like that for me to operate well, but the California Medical Association was able to finally support us and give us some to resume our operations. I didn't lose any patients that I had like before COVID. I had very, very slow growth, but I also run a Robin Hood model. So I do have free care branch to my practice. And that has been, I've been more busy with that. And if I'm not careful, I think I'm going to start slipping because I'm growing that faster than I'm growing what's getting me paid, to be quite honest.
Oh, right. Well, I know a guy named Michael Gunther who you might want to talk to because I'm sure he'll have a lot of really great ideas for you. On my screen, he's right to the left of you, but anyway, you could tap him on the shoulder someday, a virtual shoulder tap.
Okay.
And speaking of Michael, how are you doing? I think I know the answer to it, but go ahead. Are you growing, stable, slipping, or bleeding?
I always think I'm not growing. So it stresses me out every quarter, but we actually are doing really well. We had our second highest sales quarter in our history. We had our first quarter this year. Second quarter, as you know, was just nothing. We closed some deals, and this quarter I think is going to match last quarter for us. So it's been interesting. So, but I'm always concerned because we have long contracts. We have 6, 9, or 12-month engagements with our clients. So I'm always looking for first and second quarter of next year, because what we're closing now is kind of filling that. And so that has me more concerned. We usually get a bunch of leads, and last month we got 1, and we never just get 1. We get anywhere from 7 to 10 a month. And so that just has me a little worried about what's coming ahead.
Yeah.
But our team, we got 5 new leads this month so far. So I don't know if last month was just an anomaly, but it just, I would say I'm stable.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say we're trying to grow, but we're not, it's not consistent, I guess.
Yeah. Consistency is a hard thing right now. How about you, VP Crystal?
I've definitely felt all of those. I'm a sports chiropractor, so yeah, finding the PPE. Luckily, Fran's business was able to help me with that. That was a big factor in being able to work again. And then I was fortunate enough to be a participant in the CEO Virtual Roundtable put on by the GGBA. So that kind of helped me break me out of a mental fog and start working again. And then I have 1 to 2 clients that are moving away a week, which I know I'm a low volume practice, so that's a lot. A lot of my, my quality core people. So we started digital marketing in August, and I might have a record month this month, which I don't understand, but I'm very grateful and happy about. But we'll see, if the consistency is there as we approach the holidays. So all 4.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Kind of, I think we just don't know. I mean, everything's so up in the air right now. So we might think, oh, okay, we gained some ground and kind of got to a new place where we can sort of predict what's happening. But in fact, now we've got the elections and the stock market's been a little weird, and different things like that. And actually in the Bay Area, I think partly because of the fires and being able to work remotely, people are saying to themselves, well, let me get the heck out of here while the going's good. And so there's so many houses like in my neighborhood that are for sale. So I think people are kind of trying to, just gauge what their next move is. How about you, Olga? How are you doing?
So we are actually growing a lot, and we were approached to, for a contract in the Sacramento area with the Veteran Hospital, Veteran Affairs. And we just got renewed for our contract here in San Francisco. So for us, we were considered essential workers as very, as soon as the stay at home laws went into effect. And so I think it's very important, like I think Naz mentioned the medical association. It's very important for businesses to be aligned with an association with, their line of work for the best guidance in terms of PPP, in terms of are we open, are we not? I remember when like the middle of March, somebody, I think it was, those companies that do furniture, when they're selling a house, oh my God, I can't think of the name. Staging. Like somebody from their association was calling me like I'm a chapter president for the moving association, but we have a president, and our president was on it, like, no, we're essential workers, and you can still work. And so somebody from their association called me like, do you know if we can work? I'm like, I'm not the state of California. Like, I'm not gonna give you, anyways. But we are growing, and we've been very busy, and we just managing that has been a lot of work, because now we have a warehouse in Sacramento, and so just I also want to say, I'm going to put my email on the chat, and I put Anna's LinkedIn and website. So if Mary, Michael, and Naz, and even maybe Jeff, if you send me to my email, if you send me like a short, just introduction of just say, you know, I'm Michael, I'm Naz, this is my business, this is what I do, and these are the kind of clients that I need, I can think of people that I can refer you. And like Michael, I think like in the moving association, we need people like you, like times 100, because we're so, we just, you know, we for sure we need people in business development. And Mary, if I know anybody that may need your services, then I can think of and, you know, refer you. But I'm always, you know, I am thankful that we're busy. It's been kind of like overwhelming because we're not even taking residential clients right now, because our commercial and like lab and hospital and clinics have been so busy that we're not even taking residential clients right now, unless they're like VIP. But if I put my email right there, so you can send me a short, you know, paragraph, your business, you know, who are the ideal clients.
Olga is kind of like the ultimate networker and connector.
I know. So I don't want to take too much time. Go ahead. And I asked Anna for that a long time ago, and she never sent it to me.
And yet she was able to connect to me anyway.
Okay,
That's
good.
how good she is. Fran, how are you doing? Are you stable, growing, slipping, bleeding, all four like Crystal?
Thank you very much for asking. Let me get a picture in here. So there we are. Hello. So in the beginning, of course, like everybody else, March, April, May was really horrific. We had no idea what was going to happen, or, you know, everybody was in, you know, that state of shock. And of course, at that time was also our Pride events. And so most of our business was based on, for that time of year, is based on Pride products for Pride parades all over the country, and some out of the country as well. And so we didn't get any of those orders. Every one of our major companies that bought, you know, the tens of thousands worth of merchandise said, hey, we're not doing Pride this year, so can't do anything. And nobody was buying anything. People are just saying, okay, we're just going to cut our ties and not going to buy anything. And then thankfully, well, we had conversations with Michael. We took that course, and Michael and everybody else in the group, you know, we kind of worked together on figuring out how to move forward and what are the next best steps. And we started offering PPE, and we got listed with the city of San Francisco. So people who needed PPE would call San Francisco. San Francisco had a list, and we got lots of calls from that, providing sanitizer. And thank you for the shout out, Crystal. Sanitizer items for local coffee shops, for Crystal as well, a couple other chiropractors in different offices, masks. Masks seem to be the latest and greatest thing to do. So we're doing tons of masks all the time, especially during now when people are doing walks for the voting. There's an organization called Walk the Vote that we're doing thousands of masks for them as well. So PPE really helped us through for the past couple of months. And now there's a little bit of a wake up, and people are saying, okay, so we didn't spend any money for the first 9 months, and we have some money to spend. So we'd like to buy some PPE, some regular swag products with our name on it, whether they're t-shirts or any other kind of giveaway. And we've been extremely busy for the past 6 weeks, I would say. We've been getting, today was lots of phone calls today. It was really lucky.
That's fantastic.
So we're doing okay right now, but nobody knows what that's going to mean. It's people are just getting a sense of breaking through and trying to get some other stuff in there. So we're hopeful.
Yeah. Well, we're here plugging for you.
Thank you.
How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing just fine. We had the biggest year ever this year for people on ourtownsf.org. As you know, the expo was bigger than ever, and we had about 4 times more people on the website this year during the expo month than ever before. It went crazy. And now, because I'm winding down and I'll be leaving Our Town SF on the first of the year, things are kind of winding down as I expect. And then when Rob takes over in January, I'm hoping it picks up again. But for now, we're just we're coasting. Things are kind of coasting, and I expect them to be that way till the end of the year. I'm going to events, taking photos, the way I do your events, which is a snapshot from the computer. And I'm doing that again on Friday for the History Museum and Saturday for the Gay Men's Chorus. So hopefully that'll bring some more attention to the website, and just trying to get people in to join GGBA and all the other great nonprofits that we've got going on in our community.
Wonderful. How about you, Martini Modern?
Oh, I'm consulting with some clients, some real estate brokers and developers who have apartment rentals, which are timeless. And rents are down, so it's definitely a renter's market. And my campaigns definitely position each building apart, depending upon the neighborhood or the architectural style of the building. It's something I've been doing for 30 years, both here and in New York. And I also have another client that I consult with, a association that represents dairy farmers in the Central Valley, advising on different campaign themes to attract funding from state, local, and federal government sources, as well as to create a pipeline for the future generation of farmers to apprise people of what this association means for the industry. And one other thing I consult with is a home building company, remodeling mostly, advising them on telemarketing strategies and ways to stand out in a very, yes, more people are doing home remodeling, but it's still a very competitive business. So you really have to stand out in the way that you present yourself and focus in on niches like ADUs, which are fast growing, accessory dwelling units.
Right.
Basically mother-in-law units, which are extremely popular and I should say a less bureaucratic solution to the affordable housing crisis.
Right. Well, okay, so I think at least 3 of us on this call benefited from the GGBA HPAP CEO program. I was on it too, and I think I started in May, and probably not by coincidence, that was also when business started to turn around. And so we're stable to growing, and probably like Fran and like Michael, I want that to continue. We had certain, like goals, and then they got shot out of the water by COVID. And then when I started with the CEO program, Michael doubled and almost tripled my goal. But I was like, well, if Michael says that I can do it, I guess I can do it, because he's kind of an expert here. So actually, so far, we're on target to meet those goals. And I think people thought out, and of course, I'm in digital marketing, and so they recognize the importance of pivoting and going into the digital space. So that's what we'll talk about. So now we know how we're doing, and we will just summarize a little bit about brand. So the elements of branding really are your audience, the products and services that you offer, and your identity and messaging. But something that I think people sometimes forget about branding is that it really isn't very much about what you hope people think. It's what they really do think. And so in the digital marketing space, it's not more important than, quote unquote, in real life, but still you do need to really consider your audience and how can you meet your audience in digital spaces. And, it's different than shaking a hand. And if you're not a digital native, it can feel awkward to figure out how to connect with your audience in digital spaces. And so we'll talk a little bit about that later, like where are audiences generally in different stages of your business pipeline. And then your brand is also your product and your service. And so I think everybody can kind of see how your brand would be made up of your product and service and how people perceive it. And then of course it's more classically identity and messaging. So, and this is very important online because you'll be using a set of typefaces, and you'll be using a logo. You may have a slogan, but what you want to do is make sure that not only is, and I'll talk more about this, but not only is your brand consistent, but also is it consistently delivered, but does it provide a message that is the message you're trying to get out to different people in different places. I might have made that sound a little bit confusing, but classically your brand is not just your logo, but also the rest of the collateral and making it internally consistent along with your messaging. Let me stop share just for a minute and see. That's pretty, could be considered 101, but does anybody have questions about it? Okay, I'll take that as a no and keep going. Okay, so the things that I want to leave you with here are really, right now, of course, is the perfect time to work on your brand strategy, because we're in either a down, well, we're in a downturn, yes, but of course it's obviously an unprecedented type of downturn. But whenever there's a downturn, that is a good time to take a look and take stock. Of course, you feel fearful, especially if you're in that bleeding category. But nevertheless, if you can kind of shore up your courage, or like, for example, Crystal and I, we were in a group that could support us through a really hard time. And that's one of the reasons that the GGBA exists, is to help people stay courageous or feel strong enough to focus on the things that are important, even when it feels like it's scary or like you won't be able to move forward. So effectively, the relationships are the most important part of branding. And first of all, there's so many reasons that relationships are the most important part of branding, but one reason is how will you can find out how are people perceiving your brand through relationship. And you can also use your relationships to grow your brand. So it's not really, so in the real world, which is not digital marketing, here you'd shake people's hands, you'd meet them, you'd grow your relationships. And then in social media, of course, the numbers are supposed to be much higher, and it can feel kind of shallow, but you can think of every single person who follows you on Twitter or anyone who is in your email subscriber database as somebody you have a relationship with, even if it's a very tenuous type of relationship. And so once you have that relationship with them, then you can say to yourself, how do I want to build this? How do I want to make it better? And I think right now people are looking for positive messages. They're always wanting you to be helpful. So when you think about an email you're sending out, don't just think about selling, but think about really how can you make a difference for someone. So, in the email, can you send them a link to something that will be of genuine use to them? If you're sending out a group email, then this is where, circling back to our talk about audience, you really understand your audience, what their needs are, and what will be helpful now. And there are kind of levels of it. So at the very top of the funnel, you'd say, in say the realm of social media, how is my content kind of a Me Too content that grabs attention? So, in the real estate market, I'm just trying to think of examples, but a lot of realtors use pets as either partnerships with pet charities and stuff like that. And that's because that's a way to establish connection with people and a relationship with people, which isn't per se selling, but is saying, oh, I love dogs too. Let me click on this link. Oh, it's a realtor. These are the kind of services that they offer. I need these services, and now I'm willing to engage. So you think of it as very broadly, like almost going from acquaintance to friend, to partner, something along those lines. Also, I think just humor is a way to build relationships, and humor plays very well in digital spaces. And then engagement. So it's not just about posting something, it's also about taking time to actually engage with other people's content, to mention them, to make them feel special however you can. So then another very important aspect, oh wait, hold on, I'm gonna find out if anybody has questions about kind of the role of relationships in brand strategy. Do you?
I don't have a question. I think just a comment. I like on LinkedIn, I think like the political climate that we're in, it's, I obviously don't post anything political on LinkedIn because I may piss off like a client that I don't, I can do that like on my Instagram, on my private Instagram and my Facebook, obviously. But yeah, I think it's important because right now I think anywhere like, with the protesting and the riots and the, people can just turn things, and I like how you said it should be positive and it should be like funny if possible.
Yeah, or solve a problem directly, which you might be able to do, even in a post. People may have questions about things like, I went to a networking event a couple of years ago and I met someone and she actually remembered my newsletter. And the reason was because we had talked about net neutrality, which is a political consideration. But she was like, I was really wondering, what is net neutrality? And your email answered that question. So if people have questions and you can be the one that answers, of course, you'll be more memorable to them. So, but I do think also avoiding politics and not going into Trollville is important. So another very important thing about branding is about consistency. And so in terms of that brand identity and messaging, this is where, having a style guide so that your typefaces, your colors, your logo is presented in a consistent way. And also that you present information to the public in a consistent way. So, the GGBA has our Make Contacts at the same time every month. People need to drop YouTube videos at the same time every week. So when you're creating your plans, really think in terms of what is something that you can deliver on a consistent basis. And then if business is slow, which a kind of funny feature of COVID was, I never really felt like I had lots of extra time, even when everyone was like, oh, this is the time to, kind of retreat. But still, if things are down or slow, then that may be the time to review all of your brand collateral and update it, and at least make it consistent so that people, when they're looking on social media, can recognize you. And then also think in terms of, well, is my brand actually recognizable, or does it even look good on social media? So there are things that just stand out more or less, and you can actually just go onto Facebook and look at a row of profile pictures or brands, and you can kind of squint your eyes a little bit and say, hey, is this one that I could recognize? And so then you can ask yourself, is yours recognizable? So I think like in terms of deciding, can I blog once a week to build my SEO? Can I send out a newsletter once a month? Can I post on social 3 times a week? Can I do it at the same time? So make it a practice, and that will help you be more memorable. And then within that, when you're posting and sharing and when you're sending out emails, that they always look like they come from the same person, and that person is, of course, you. So then a third takeaway for this particular time, which is this pandemic, social unrest time, I think that it's important to show your brand. So demonstrate how you support your employees, how you're supporting your community, what your policies are. Be willing to be very upfront about how you're addressing and handling COVID, if that's, important consideration for brands. And I'll stop share for a minute and just tell a story. Okay, so I haven't had my hair cut since 4 days before COVID, which was when we were about to have our power lunch. And so I got my hair cut and I got my nails done and everything like that. And we had our power lunch. And that's the last time I've been in a salon. But my salon is opening back up. And they sent me a text saying, did I want to make an appointment? And so I asked them, and this is part of their brand, I asked them, the person who texted me, well, what is your safety strategy? And then the person texted me back and they said, well, we're following CDC guidelines. And so then I texted back and I said, could you send me a link? Or she said, you can Google it. And I get really expensive haircuts. And so I don't want to hear people say to me, like, you can Google it. So I said, would you be willing to send me a link? So then she sent me a link to a PDF that wasn't even specific to their salon. And all of that is branding, because another strategy would have been to text me with a link that went to a web page that showed their COVID strategy and said to me, Anna, here's how you can come and have a luxury hair experience and be safe. So if you think of those two brand experiences and where they missed an opportunity, so this isn't one of the takeaways, but for your brand, if people ask you a question about something that you're presenting to the public or one of your policies or one of your products or something, I would suggest never saying to them, Google it. I would suggest having something coherent and branded to you that looks great that you can send out. So that's just an example, though, of kind of a way to do it wrong that put me off. So I still haven't got a haircut because I don't feel like they demonstrated to me that I would be, safe in that environment. Okay, so then my bonus idea for brand strategy takeaways is going analog. And we're a little bit behind time, so I guess I'll rush through the next few steps. But I really think that even in the realm of digital marketing and branding, that you should try to go analog and create experiences, physical experiences for people if possible, because I really appreciate you guys being here, but many people have Zoom fatigue and are tired of kind of the isolation. And so I think that if you could take time to actually send someone a letter, the more personal, the better. If you could somehow create social distance outdoor activities for people, if you're in the health and wellness arena, you could do something like, have somebody do a half an hour meditation and then connect on Zoom and share experiences. There might be something like you could send people, if you're in real estate, a map and they could go look at a few houses. Something kind of like treasure hunty. Obviously, if you're in the swag space, you can send out maybe something humorous or supportive, or even something like comforting, like, a stuffed animal or, something like that. And then, so I just think that right now, even though I'm in digital marketing, people are saturated with digital marketing and they would like to have physical experiences where possible and then maybe come together to share online. And there are different ways to think about building that in. So our next move, I wanted to share one other thing. So here is ways that you can take action and how the different categories affect you. So search, also SEO, helps you build awareness and drive traffic to your site, and you can have organic or paid search. Social is kind of an overall workhorse for awareness, reach, some traffic, people doing research, staying top of mind. And of course, that comes in organic and paid forms too. And these are all places that your brand can show up. And this is all places that your audience is showing up. So you can kind of, when you look at your audience, you'll be saying to yourself, you know, what kind of a person is this? Is this a person who's more likely to rely on search to find businesses or make connections? Are they more likely to be in the social realm and really enjoying social media, which, you know, could typically be younger people, but is really all of us? And then email is great for loyalty, staying top of mind. And that comes in the form of newsletters, drip campaigns, thank yous, and re-engagement. And now may be a really good time to do a re-engagement campaign if you sort of fell off for a while during COVID. And then in our business, people have really focused on advertising, and that's where a lot of the requests are coming. You know, advertising doesn't have as good an ROI as organic search does, for example, and would never generate the kind of loyalty that a really great social media campaign would. But if you aren't in a place yet where your brand is ready for search and social or even email, then advertising can give you a quick boost. And of course, content is foundational for all tactics. And so it varies by the point of your customer in their journey. So it could be web pages, blogs, social posts, emails, videos, infographics, advertisements, webinars, online networking like we're doing now. So, but the point is to dig deep into who is your client and where are they in the process. And so if your brand is little known online, then you need to focus on that more beginning kind of content that gives the person the me too feel. I'll stop share again. And so we could have a choice right now. I know we're close to the end, but you could do a quick breakout and discuss these if you wanted, or you could just throw some questions at me. So really you can let us know what your preferences are, but I'm happy to answer questions about any of this. Or you guys might want to break out and chat amongst yourselves.
I think Anna froze. I would just be interested to hear from other folks. What are they doing differently or creatively during this time? Have they had to do something that they haven't done in a while, or they're trying different ways to reach their clients? I mean, I personally would love to hear that, you know, because we're so high touch as well through networking, like Mary was talking about, and speaking engagements and things like that. And so I'd just be curious to hear, are there things creatively people are doing or re-engaging with, or?
Oh my gosh, Michael, if Jeff, you're willing to share, Jeff private messaged me, and see, he's really, I think, taking the right type of step. Do you want to share?
Sure, I'm happy to share with the group. During COVID, during shelter in place, I do not, or stopped going to the office. I work in the Pyramid Building, that's 600 Montgomery. I live south of San Francisco, so it really takes me about an hour each direction. So I use that time that I used to commute to learn how to make sourdough bread. And what I've done on my Instagram is post photos of the process and correlate that to financial planning, which is what I do. And I use the extra bread that I don't eat, and I share with people. In fact, Dr. Crystal was a guinea pig, and I give it away.
So
I give it away.
So delicious.
Oh, thank you. I give it away to prospects that I'm working with and new clients. And it is definitely a door opener, and it is going analog, exactly what Anna said. It's because we can't even see each other, but will they take free bread, homemade, from my hands, from a starter that I created for them? Or, you know, they're more likely to have a conversation with me. And that's all I want, is just a conversation.
Yeah, that's, I think, 100% the right attitude right now. Like, that's nurturing, that's kind of where everyone's at right now. So you're connecting to that place where people are like, wow, we're having to be really different. So to me, that's a really great way to build your brand during COVID. That's a
Financial
really
planner
good
makes the
example.
dough right.
I like that. Thank you.
I'm ready. I happen to have some butter on my table right now.
Oh, that's a good butter too. Yes.
But just an answer also to Michael's question, do other people have examples of how they're pivoting? Or was there any inspiration from this? Like, did it sort of get anybody's wheels turning? Like, how are you going to take action? Maybe you'll start making sourdough, because he's doing that in the financial planning space, but I could be doing it in the digital marketing space.
Well, one thing we have done, we've been doing business for 17 years. We've worked with over 500 plus businesses, and many of those folks we haven't talked to in a while. Even though we try to keep in touch, there's probably about 100 that my team contacts consistently. So we've gone back and have now reached out over the last 6 months to every client that we have worked with over time. And that's not only generated new opportunities, find out how they're doing, got us reconnected with them too. And every day we all make so many calls. I think it's each doing 3 to 5 a day, just a quick connection, checking in. Sometimes we get voicemails. We've gotten gifts to our office for just checking in with them. We've gotten some nice accolades. We got referrals. So it just reminded us of those people we've done business with to go back, even though it may be a year since we've done business with them.
Yeah, that's another fantastic idea. And I think, and the GGBA did that towards the beginning of Shelter in Place. I think we broke up the list of members and we called people, and people really appreciated just a check-in. And, so you're not selling anything, but you're kind of saying, hey, we're all kind of struggling here a little bit, or it's impacting everybody. So, hey, I'm just checking in. And, you don't know what that'll spark, but I think it also makes you feel good too. And so it kind of raises the whole bar on positivity and just gives you more hope. And when you have more hope and when you're feeling better, it's easier to be engaged in a sales process. And that's what I think my membership in GGBA did for me through COVID. We had the very actionable CEO program, but that was just a game changer in that I could talk to other business owners and really be able to not only bond, but have practical action steps going forward. So I think your former clients would truly appreciate that as well. Yep, Fran.
In the beginning, Audrey and I sent out personalized phone holders for everybody because we knew everybody's going to be sitting around doing Zoom. So we sent everybody a personalized phone holder, and that went over extremely well. People were very appreciative. It was sent to all our top clients and a couple of what I like to call the gatekeepers, the people who sit at the front counter and decide whether or not you're going to talk to the buyer or not. So we did that. And then I've been sending out an email about once every 6 weeks to all of my top clients, whether I've heard from them or not. I just send that, hey, how's everything going? Hope you're doing well. Is there anything we could do for you while we're here? We're all going through it together. And it does pay off because about, at least every single one of the people that I've sent something to has mailed back, at least kept me in mind for the next orders, and they're all ordering now. So just staying in touch really made a big difference.
Yeah.
You said you do corporate apparel?
We do corporate apparel. We do all kinds of product, uniforms, corporate apparel, any kind of personalized, anything you want to put your name on, we could do it. We offer silkscreen. You can go to my website, ellaprint.com. We do custom awards, we do uniforms, we do any kind of pad printing, engraving, and things like that.
I would, maybe if you knew any agents at Compass, one of my clients is Compass, they're a real estate company that I do marketing and advertising for. So if you know any local agents for Compass, you might want to reach out to them and see how you can help extend their brand identity.
Thank you, Olga. Yeah, thank you very much. I do know somebody at Compass. I know 2 people at Compass.
And
Yeah,
so
they're
they
very.
took over Pacific Union and a whole bunch of local brokerages. So
Right,
they're
right.
so
You
prolific.
know, right. Thank you very much. That's very nice. I know that one thing that I've noticed is I have gotten more calls in the past 2 months for people, small businesses, looking for somebody like myself, personalized, somebody who does personalization, looking for local suppliers. Like, I'm all done with Amazon, or I'm done with, people not in my neighborhood. I want to support my neighborhood. I probably have picked up about 10, 12 different customers, never met them before, all small businesses doing business here because they want to do business with a local company. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a theme for us too. People are saying they want local. And this is where I'm saying people are wanting to kind of figure out ways to personalize things and make things kind of more comforting, I think, because, they have seen just the impact of this. And I think it is giving people a little bit more of a kind of community spirit sort of attitude. One way or another. It's not perfect, of course.
One other real quick thing I just want to mention is that I listed myself on all of my vendors who, I have a vendor for my engraver or my sandblaster or whatever, and they have listings on their websites. So if you need a local sandblaster, here's who you can go look for. I did that during my free time, and that also significantly changed some of the products that I offer.
All right. Okay, I'm going to share my screen just one more time because I'm going to share a little bit of what we might also be able to give you. So kind of in terms of wrapping up, we can send out this deck, but if you really feel like you're a beginner, or if you know somebody else who's getting started online or just wants an overview, we have a Shine Online drip email course you can sign up for, which is totally free. If you want to talk about your business in a little more in depth, you can sign up for our complimentary strategy session. Also, we have monthly Instagram lives. And so you could reach out to Rose at Colibri Digital Marketing and actually come and talk about your business on our live. And then I also have a bunch of materials which go into the different kinds of topics that are, it's a compendium of our blog posts and case studies and things like that. But if you're looking for information on strategy or branding or how to make your website better, search, and social, but it's taking a little bit to load. We have loads of, information on our website that might be of use to you. So I think that, so if you're interested, you can get the deck and get these links and come talk to me or anybody really at the GGBA who might be able to connect you with other business owners or who can help you with various aspects of your marketing and business health. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. And so kind of here in the last 5 minutes, so do people have questions, like burning questions about branding or about what's coming up with the GGBA?
A question, Anna. As far as like TikTok for business, are you seeing a trend to go that way, or is it with all the political news about TikTok, is it still more Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as far as like where small businesses or private practice like ours should be kind of looking at?
Right. So it's still way more Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, especially for businesses like yours and for mine. We are actually delving into TikTok to see if there's a way to have a strategy, but our audience is kind of a 50+ audience. And I have kind of like, older adolescent children, and they kind of practically banned me from TikTok. I mean, they're really like, God, that's weird for you to be on TikTok. And they said that about Snapchat too. For some businesses, something like Snapchat had a few minutes where it seemed like, oh, that might be a direction, like especially real estate, because you could take little snaps and send it to clients or something like that. But unless you just have an interest in TikTok, I would not put a lot of my energy there. I mean, you should claim a profile and make sure that you have it branded, and maybe you could put in, a few things or learn about the space. But I would do that only out of interest, and I just don't see it driving very many leads for people unless they are really in the youth market for some reason. Like I'm talking 14-year-olds, and I don't think anyone here at business is focused on, 14 to 20-year-olds. Yeah, so I would say, unless you have a lot of spare time after you're done baking your bread, don't focus on TikTok.
I have a similar question, but with Pinterest. Do you recommend that?
Pinterest is great for people who are selling products, and Pinterest actually, especially kind of female focused products, because it's like 70 to 80% female user. And since it was basically set up as a shopping platform, people are kind of there ready to spend. And so they do have like a higher per click spend in Pinterest. Another great thing about Pinterest is its traffic driving ability. So there could definitely be a place for it. I maybe in the moving space, maybe in the commercial moving space. I mean, the point would be to have really beautiful imagery and that kind of thing. So it depends on kind of your photography skill and you're willing to kind of commit to the process. But Pinterest, I would not for really finance, although people are always looking for like infographics and stuff like that. So I mean, definitely, again, claim your profile. And if you feel like experimenting, see, but for most of us, it wouldn't be a top choice. Although maybe actually for Crystal, it could be a good choice. But because your business is so locally oriented, again, that's where I think just like the higher touch, kind of more local focus, probably email, webinars, that kind of thing. But you could also see, but you can do the same thing with Instagram. You could say, here, look at my videos, so I don't think I just don't think even for you, Pinterest would be a top choice.
Yeah, I've just picked like one social thing and I stick with that, and that's Instagram. I'm like, that's all I can handle.
Yeah, and that seems like a really great choice for you.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to make any announcements about upcoming GGBA events or anything like that? We're right at 6:30.
Yeah, our next event coming up is next week. It's the new member orientation. You don't have to be a new member to attend. It's a good way to just meet other folks and kind of get reacquainted with the organization. We're doing it next Wednesday at noon. It'll be about half hour, 45 minutes.
Any closing words from our president?
No, it's just good to see everybody, and thanks for Anna for leading us tonight. And just keep in mind, we are constantly looking for new ideas and feedback. We're an all volunteer board. We don't have any staff, and so, but we're always looking for new ideas, new topics, programming. So if you know topics that you would like to hear, please let us know. You could always go to info@ggba.com or email us at that. In addition, we're always growing our membership. Last year we added 80 new members, and this year our goal is 100 new members as a board, and we added 9 in September. So it was a first good month, and so we're just constantly trying to grow and making sure our members are getting business from each other as well. So we're really focusing on some new programming. So keep your eye out on that. We have a bunch of new programming coming out that the board's currently working on right now. So thank you for attending too.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say I went on the GGBA's website this past week and put in all my new profile information. I love the new setup for members of being able to put your logo and all your information in there. So I went and did that this week.
Awesome.
That's great.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking on yet another Zoom meeting and being here and hearing about how your businesses are doing. So let's just hope for a fantastic 4th of July for everyone. And we'll be looking forward to, I think, seeing you guys in person next year.
Yay. Good night, everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir. Bonsoir.
Thank you, guys. You did a great job.
Thank you.